John Parker Wilson, I hope all is well, man. Welcome into the game in T-Town.
Man, good to talk to you again. It's been a while, but glad to talk, man. How was your trip?
Oh, it's good. It's good, man. The trip was awesome. It was fun. It was, we were gumping it out there, man, in the cruise ship.
That's all you can do, right? You didn't miss much here. It's been raining the whole time, so.
Yeah,
so I would rather be on a boat also.
Yeah, it was kind of hard. I mean, going from like 80 to like 40, it was a little bit of a shock. But it was nice. It was nice to get away for a couple of days, and you kind of get back, and you got spring football and the NFL Combine. You got a lot of things going on, and certainly we're going to talk about it with you. I want to go back to the NFL Combine. How tough of a process is that from a player perspective?
Yeah, it's tough. It's something, as a player, you don't really ever experience that until you get there. And you spend, basically these guys are spending almost every second from the time you finish your bowl game to now getting ready for it, whether it's training and working out, going to whatever location these guys are at, eating, so either trying to gain weight or lose weight or gain more muscle mass or whatever's going to make you more measurable at these combines, because that's basically what it's all about, is putting on a show for the scouts. But one of the things that's the hardest to prepare for is the interviews and the meetings with the GMs and the coaches and all the different people personnel in the organization. It's something, you kind of prepare for doing interviews with the media and everything, but it's a different deal when you get in there, and basically it's a job interview. You don't know who you're talking to. They're asking you all kind of crazy questions, and you got to keep focused for, the guys are probably there for 3 or 4 days, and the GMs throw a lot at you, but, they're trying to figure out exactly what they're going to invest in. These teams are making huge investment in these players. They're just trying to get the best guys in there. So it's a process to get ready for it and to stay mentally sharp the whole time. I think that's the hardest thing for a lot of guys, is just staying sharp the whole time you're there.
But as a quarterback, knowing that you've got to know your job, but you've also got to know the other 10 guys out there, it seems like, and I'm not trying to throw out offensive linemen or any other position, wide receiver, running backs, but it seems like they would just go overload on a quarterback, trying to pick your brain for every piece of the game that you know.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I mean, watching film with a coach and saying, okay, what would you do in this situation? Or, hey, what play call would you call him? Getting up on the board and drawing a lot of different plays, a lot of protections. Because, especially now from where the college game is to where the pro game is, it's a little bit different. There's not as much of the RPOs and the spread action as we see in college. And the pro game hasn't changed all that much. Now, there's a little bit more spread worked into it, but, the coach might give you a play at the beginning of the meeting and teach it to you, and then an hour later say, hey, let's go back on that play. You teach it to me now. So trying to get that recall, because like you said, as a quarterback, you got to know your job, but you got to know everybody else's job on the field. And not only that, you got to know the defense, what they're trying to do just as well as they do. So it's tough. It really is, but that's, why these guys get paid so much money now, because there is so much involved. There's a lot thrown at them on the plate, and you're just trying to show your best that you can, because if you get invited to the combine, it's an honor, and you just try to go out there and really make as much money as you can, because it is a job interview. We've all been on job interviews, and this is just a different type for these players. I know personally being in Alabama, having the training that we did, it really prepared me, and I know it prepares all the other guys of being in an intense situation and having to answer questions to coaches. It's not easy. It's really not.
John Parker, today is second 26, and we've been spending a lot of time replaying the call from Tua Tagovailoa to Devontae Smith in the national championship. I want to go prior to that play, okay? I want to go, and being a former quarterback and being a Nick Saban quarterback, we're talking to the color analyst for the Alabama Crimson Tide, and knowing the demands of what Nick Saban places on his field general out there on the field. When Tua takes that sack, if Nick Saban could have got to him, what do you think he would have said on that first down play when he took a 16-yard sack?
Well, I mean, in that situation, the worst thing you can do, besides obviously turning the ball over, is taking a sack, because now it puts you out of field goal range. and you're just trying to do whatever you can to get back that down, you just lost. And second 26 is such a I mean, I don't know the stats off the top of my head, but it's not a high likelihood of converting that. I mean, you're in a bad situation. You know, a lot of times we say if there's ever a hold on the play or an offensive pass interference, it's pretty detrimental. It's the odds of converting that are extremely low. And that pass play, Coach Saban fouled up that play. It was 4 verticals trying to run the downfield, maybe finding a seam down the middle, but probably more than likely just checking the ball down, trying to pick up 10 or 15 yards with a defense that's probably going to be dropping, guarding the goal line. Linebackers should be dropping. But Tua recognized in this situation that they're kind of playing a little more defensive on the defense as opposed to rushing the pass. Getting out, played a soft defense, and he read it perfect. We've seen it so many times in replay. But for him to have that poise and not saying, hey, just took a big sack, now I got to try to get it back on the second down, try to get it to third and manageable. He went through his read, did he was supposed to, and then, I mean, what we saw all his first year, and definitely this year, of being able to throw strikes downfield. I think he's one of the better downfield passers. But, I mean, that's a tough situation. And the thing is, it's like, don't take a sack. And then after you do that, to be able to come back from it, just kind of shows what kind of quarterback he is.
John Parker, but how hard, because we watched him do it, and I was kind of like sitting there thinking about the negative side of that, because, we talk about defensive backs. They got to have a quick memory. They got to remove that whenever they give up a play. But how hard is it to take that play, a negative play, and file that away? I'm sure it's for every position. But as a quarterback, you kind of take that sack, and man, I'm in trouble. Man, I should have never did that. But then to sort of file that away and have the confidence to go out and make that type of throw.
Yeah, that's it, the confidence. Because you have to have the confidence in your ability to bounce back. Because the first thing you're thinking is, man, I just screwed up. I put my team in a bad situation. Now, the worst thing to do is to force it, because that's the human nature of saying, to make up for that bad play, I got to go make a fantastic play. Usually that results in a turnover or another bad play. But for him to just quickly put it aside and have the confidence to throw a honey hole ball against cover 2 on the sideline down the field like he did, not a lot of people could have the mental capacities to be able to do that. Obviously he did. Early in the game, in that same game, when he threw the interception, I think he goes over to Coach Saban, kind of pats him on the back, saying, hey, we're going to be fine. We got this. And that's kind of the mentality you have to have. And you can't fake it. Because if you fake it after interception in the situation of the game, okay, we can get something can happen. But in that situation with the game on the line, got to have a touchdown. That's mentality. That's having confidence in yourself, confidence in your ability that doesn't matter what the defense is going to throw at me, I'm going to get it done.
Well, and I love the story that Nick Saban, when he goes around these speaking engagements, he shared the story a couple of times, but he's basically in the locker room, post-national championship. They've already had the celebration. They've had the press conference right there in the team meeting following the game. He calls Tua up, and he says, Tua, what were you doing on that play? Why did you take that sack? It's typical Nick Saban. And Tua looks at him in a sincere voice and goes, Coach, I was just trying to give us more room to throw the football.
I love it.
And Saban goes, that blank ain't funny.
Easy to say that after the fact, right? It's tougher once you get down the red zone. The field gets compressed. And it is harder to score. I'd like to think that's what he was doing, but I don't think that situation would intentionally take a sack. But maybe that's what makes it different. Maybe he did it on purpose, and, it's a storytelling ending to finish it. So he hopefully he's got one more, maybe 2 more years left of that.
Well, one of the things that we're going to be closely, and we'll get to spring practice and we're going to break it down, but, we talk about the quarterback. It's locked in. It's been a few years since we've had, not a lot of quarterback competition, that conversation, but really the quarterback conversation is at second string. Somebody's got to step up. You look at Mac Jones, who's got the veteran. He's been around the program, understands the expectations. But you really go behind that second string with Jalen departing for Oklahoma. Now you're looking at who's going to step up in that backup role, because, you've had Tua that's had some injuries, some things that kind of hung around. He was tough. He was able to show through. But you got to get a second string quarterback ready, because you're one play away from going to that guy.
Exactly. And we saw how important, especially in the SEC championship game, of having that backup quarterback ready to play it. And you don't know when it's going to happen. You hope it doesn't happen, and you hope the starter is healthy from start to finish. But when you need him in the second half of an SEC championship when you're down, you've got to be developing whoever that guy is, get him ready to play like he would be the starter. And it's tough to back up because you don't get the reps. I think it's better now because these guys get so many reps in high school and they're passing the ball so much. I think the guys are more equipped, but there's three really good guys backing him up. Matt Jones came in and he didn't have a ton of opportunities, but I was a pretty big advocate for him last year, saying that he did have to go. He's got that gunslinger, that kind of backup mentality that you need of, hey, I might not be the starter, but if I get my chance, I'm going to go in and win it. And I think, we just talked about the confidence that Tua had playing backup and being the backup quarterback is a lot of mentality because you want to be the starter. They're not going to be the starter, but as long as Tua is healthy. So you've got to have the mentality of, I'm going to get every rep I can mentally and practice in the summer. And it really starts for those guys right now. When spring practice starts, you've got to be training yourself for a Georgia situation. I think that's a great coaching point they're going to use for a while now of saying, hey, you don't know when the number's going to be called, but when it is, it's expected for you to go out there and to perform just like the starter. So it's a tough situation, but it's all about mentality, being a quarterback. And really being any backup, you got to have a good mentality of everybody wants to be a starter. We get it. But there can only be 22 starters. You got to put in the work this time of the year to be ready for, a late December game.
John Parker, final question. When you make the transition from OC, quarterback coach, the guy's going to do the same thing. One guy departs. Is there just a complete change-up of terminology? What's that like? Because you've been a part of transitions. What's a challenge side of that when a new OC steps in? Is it new terminology? What's the kind of playbook? How much does it change and how much stays the same?
Yeah, it'll be new terminology for the coordinator. And, usually when a head coach, and this is any program you go to, the head coach is going to kind of keep offense, defensive terminology, personnel, packages. That's all going to stay the same. It's a lot easier for one offensive coordinator to learn it as opposed to 60 guys on offense. So you try to keep as much continuity. Now, whoever coordinator comes in is going to bring his own wrinkles, maybe some new plays. But for the most part, probably 60, 70% of the offense, you try to keep it the same just because it's so much terminology. It's like it literally is like learning a new language. I mean, you can only call a slant so many different things. So you got to learn that and relate it to whatever play. Start's been there and been with Coach Saban. Coach Saban's offense is going to be called the same thing. So I think it's quicker for the offensive coordinator to adapt it, but that's just one of the things. No matter where you go, college, high school, pros, you're going to have to learn new terminology and adapt. And that's the thing. And that's why you try to get so many reps and during spring and most of it goes mentally. It really is getting in the playbook and learning it and putting yourself in those situations. I remember as a quarterback, we would usually, talk to each other, to put yourself mentally in whatever situations you might come across during the season. And that, always helps when it gets later in the season. You might not have seen that whatever situation. Maybe it was back during training camp. So you're just trying to keep mentally sharp. Doesn't matter who the coordinator is.
I don't know about you, man, but I'm so excited for spring football because I look at all the different guys this week at the NFL Combine. There's 11 players from the University of Alabama that will be up at Indiana in Indy. They are representing the University of Alabama at the the NFL Combine. And there's a lot of players that will be a part of the NFL that you got to find a way to replace. But this spring practice is going to be epic. It's going to be so many different battles going on regardless of position. I'm counting down the hours to spring football here in Tuscaloosa. And plus, you can kind of help us remove that sour taste. You know what I mean? Just get back on the football field, get away from that Clemson game as far as we can get away from it.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I mean, these guys want to get to practice as fast as possible. Try to start working toward next year of turning the page. You try to learn as much as you can. But right now, they're in the fourth quarter program. They're running a lot. They can't wait to put on pads and go out there and hit somebody. Earn a job and then get ready for the kickoff of next year just to try to avenge the loss. that's what you're trying to do. I know that's what they're preaching right now. Hey, we get a chance to go out and build our own team, create our new identity. You hear Coach Saban say that 100 times. Each year has their own identity, so it starts now. It started as soon as the plane ride home, and those guys got back that we're going to be on the team of building that identity for next year. That's what spring's so fun. New guys at new positions, go out there and earn jobs. It's fun. I can't wait for 8A to see what those guys are like that on the field.
Let me talk about Tuscaloosa Toyota. They proudly present John Parker Wilson, former Alabama Crimson Tide quarterback, color analyst for the Crimson Tide Sports Network. Talk about the great leadership on Scotland Boulevard and at tuscaloosa.youtube.com.
Yep, it really is the car buying process simplified. There's no surprises, no hassles. You get our best price first. It's one price at one place. It's Tuscaloosa Toyota. You can buy them at tuscaloosa.com. We know how good their product is. Their process, their salesmen are second to none. We talk about it every week. And I'm sitting here looking at the phone right now, the website. Like you said, you go there, see their inventory. The financing packages right now are unbelievable. So go out, check them out at Skyland Boulevard or tuscaloosa.toyota.com.
Absolutely. John Parker Wilson, man, have an amazing week, and we'll talk to you next Tuesday. Thank you, sir.
Roll Tide, Ryan.